Today I'm here to address to you a common argument of whether or not guns in our community needs to be restricted. And it needs to be forced, and we need to focus on this issue now more than ever. We have seen the results of people abusing guns who are able to take hundreds of lives, life that families will never be with or seen again. Sandy Hook, the Charleston church shooting, the Aurora shooting, gang superiority, and much more. These incidents should be red flags to anyone that there needs to be restrictions in our gun laws. Because of how people abuse them. Before I go on with this discussion, I want to say this. Guns don't kill people. People kill people with guns. But the result of how many illegal guns are in our streets right now are the reasons why there's so many killing in our city. That's why I'm here to propose to you today that there need to be more enforcement in our gun laws. Because we do not want anybody's family to say their last goodbyes to their child in a coffin. For people who believe that regulations on gun policies will affect our life to live, our freedom of speech, our freedom to protect ourselves, they actually have a good point. They say that the first person who bring it up, James Madison, the first person to bring up the Second Amendment in our Constitution, made a compelling point saying that the best way to enslave the people is to restrict them, is to restrict their self-defense. That's the reason why our country made the Second Amendment. But they did not make the Second Amendment to abuse guns, to make people have power over others. We need to have restrictions because as a result, at the early 1990s, homicides among people at the age of 24 and under increased from 230%, from 22 victims in 1987 to 72 victims in 1990, and remains high. The rate of homicide drastically increased because of how much guns, illegal guns, that are in our country. As you can see for yourself, these are problems that needs to be solved now, because if they're not solved, it's just going to become worse. That's why I propose to you that there needs to be harsher enforcement. In fact, there was a study on this from the National Institute of Justice, which called it Operation Ceasefire in our very own cities. Operation Ceasefire made law enforcement more strict toward guns and gun control. Sometimes they will even go out of their way to go to highly known gang areas and tell people who are known gang affiliates to say that these are the law. If you're breaking these laws, there will be consequences. Worse consequences than what it was in the past. As a result, there was a 25% decrease monthly citywide assault in our city, Boston, as well as a 44% decrease in our youth gun assaults. As you can see, this is a great solution to our problems that are affecting our community. We have heard the results of the wrong people owning guns. Like people who are in school, in the church, in the theater, and people who are just walking on the street, trying to live their normal lives. They'll never have the time to say goodbye to their friends or family. Now, we as the next generation have a choice. Should we sit down and let this blow by us to the point where it affects the person sitting next to you, your best friends, your family? Or will you stand up and fight in order to have more enforcement in our gun laws? Because you know deep in your heart that it is the right thing to do to protect ourselves and our loved ones. I thank you here today for hearing my discussion.
Yes, Carl.